Now, isn't that regal, the picture you just saw? Oh, you didn't see the picture. It's just, as Alera would say, keep your gunpowder dry.
Hold your horses.
Yes, hold your horses. What else are they supposed to do? Hold it. Hold it. Okay. My first encounter with our guests, was to talk about culture. And it is something that she continues to cherish. Our guest this morning, as you saw earlier, is Chief Abiola Dosunmu. Not Chief. Erelu Abiola Dosunmu. That is it. The Erelu Kuti, 4th of Lagos.
She is the maker of chiefs. So she cannot be a chief.
Well, somebody needs to answer some questions. But we'll consider some other time. Thank you so much for being with us this morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Now, for those who don't know, that is also education. Because a number of people would just wonder, hey, chief, and all of that, without necessarily recognizing. So you are not just the maker of chiefs. You sit as king when the monarch is not available. Tell us about that.
Well, that's why really history should be taught at school all over again.
It should,
really.
Absolutely.
But I hear they're bringing it back now.
Well, that's
or is it a rumor?
What I heard. Well, I hope it's not rumor. It should be a fact, because when we were young, history was taught at school, and we were taught about all these things, kings of different areas of Nigeria, some of the protocols of palaces and all that. And unfortunately, of course, otherwise this sort of question would have been out in the public domain.
Absolutely.
My position has to do with the history of Lagos. My position, the Erelu Kuti, the 1st of Lagos, was the one who gave her crown to her son, King Ologu Kuteri. Usually your right to the throne is through your father, through the male. But she created a second dynasty where she was 3rd of 3 children, and when the first 2 died, she felt she had the right to crown herself, which she did. Of course, it was an abomination, an aberration. And of course, to solve this, she had 2 sons and crowned both of them the same day at Enowa. This is not a myth, these are facts. And it's in history and it's existing today. So at Enowa in Lagos, she went with her 2 children, gave her crown to the eldest son, Ologu Kuteri, and a white cap to the second son, Shokun. Now, from that on, centuries ago, she created a second dynasty that gave the rights to sons of female members of royalty to be kings in Lagos. And this has become part of the law, the chieftaincy law of Lagos State, that even if you didn't come from Lagos Kingdom, but you are part of Lagos State from, it's an amalgamation of various Ibiles that constitute Lagos State at this point in time, you still have that right that sons of princesses can become kings. And we have examples around of prominent obas around.
Who were sons of women.
Yes, sons of women.
Women royalty.
Women royalty.
Yes, because in most cultures in Nigeria.
We always say men are royal fathers. You have royal mothers. You have royalty women who actually...
in most cultures in Nigeria, of course, you had to be the son of a male... Yes.
A male descendant to be,
yes.
But now my son too can aspire. Just like you have, even the current above Lagos, his claim is through his mother to the throne. Yes.
Okay, but you really still haven't spoken to that part,
The Erelu Kuti.
Yes.
So that is why Erelu Kuti derives her right to the throne. That's why she sits on the throne with the Oba. That's why you can refer to her as female Oba.
But she cannot become the Oba.
No, of course not. She's not. She cannot become the Oba, but she can act in place of an Oba if one is not in existence.
Okay, let's say the demise of one, and there's a short interregnum. Absolutely. She takes over as the...
But even while, I mean, from what I was taught growing up, because she was the one who created this second dynasty and gave the crown to her son, I was brought up to believe that if the Oba is not around, once Erelu is around, you have the crown with you. And that was the role I played for over 3 decades, especially while the previous Oba was aging. If anybody wanted him, they would say, look, once Erelu is there, the crown is there. So I don't have to be there for you to feel that you have the presence of the Oba. At your wherever his presence is required.
Now, you've been part of history, so to speak, for at least 50 years now on the throne, and even before then, as a young lady, and you've been part of it from way back, and you still are very, very much there. So, what culture was history? Tell us what culture was in terms of history, particularly in the 60s, compared to what we have today?
Well, you had very few practitioners, let me put it that way. You know, from the advent of various religions into our environment, even when people practice this behind the doors, they want to be seen as pious Christians or pious Muslims, and they felt that because they felt that their own reality is inferior. But for me, it was as a result of indoctrination, because we had a very well-established, at least in the southwestern part of Nigeria, we had a very well-established religious, even democratic system in place, controlled and guided by traditional religion. And unfortunately, our religion was castigated to be demonic, unacceptable, not the norm. Native. But really, long before the colonialists came, at least in Lagos, we had a very established government system, almost democratic. We had our own being, the supreme being, that we worship just like we worship God today. We had Olodumare, was akin to, it's the Almighty, the supreme being that controls all our destiny. That was the system in the Yoruba culture. And then, of course, you had the Orishas. What are the Orishas? That's Orisha. What's the meaning of Orisha? Do you have a word in English that's called Orisha? Orisha, but it's been demonized as something negative. But Orisha are people that were specially created, anointed, and blessed by the Almighty. If you talk of Oshun, Oshun was such a special woman, and that if she intercedes for you to Olodumare to have babies, he would probably accept her intercession rather than coming from you directly or some other lesser mortals. You know, we had all this system in place. I'm a staunch Catholic, but I still believe, and I can see the correlation between my religion, my culture, and the religion I practice. I mean, even Eshu. What is Eshu? People say it's Eshu in Nigeria, in the Yoruba context, it's not the devil. Oh. Yes, it's not the devil. He has his own positive roles that he plays. It could be naughty, it could be mischievous, but it's more of a guardian than a destroyer, like the devil. Okay. And so that's why we need to bring history back to school, to tutor the upcoming generation about the realities of who they are. And it is time that we move away from the indoctrination of those people who became part of our system, because I would not castigate them either. We were taught in a hard way to be brought back into the Committee of Nations about how things are done in other parts of the world. They took advantage of us, but there were benefits.
You said just now that you are a staunch Catholic.
Yes.
And I'm sure in many minds, staunch Catholic.
Yes. Then
she's
traditionalist. I know.
She's in the court.
Yes.
The Oba's court in
Yes.
central Lagos.
Yes.
You know, Idugara.
Yes.
Where people believe that all kinds of fetishes go on. How? Please
marry the two.
Marry the two in our minds.
That has been a big headache, especially. I mean, and I've been coming a long time. And I've had to contend with this.
50
but thank
years.
God, yes, thank God you have younger people now who are curious, who want to know about themselves. Even the old ones now, a lot of them, if you forget to put the prefix chief on their names, they get very angry. But I can tell you, even as far back as even 20 years, some people, you ask them that, oh, they've done very well, you want to honor them with a chieftaincy title, they run the other way and say, oh, no, we don't want to get involved with anything fetish. And quite a number of them will say, okay, if I accept it, I have to swear by the Bible or I have to swear by the Quran. And you know, Abba Yekon was fantastic. He was, whatever you want to swear by, bring it. When you come, you see that what we do, we are not guilty of wrongdoings. Because you see, in every religion, you have people who practice them wrongly. You have people who worship the cross upside down. You have people who use the Quran to do it, but they are not supposed to be instruments of negativity. Christianity is a beautiful religion that preaches love, love for one another, consideration for one another, propriety, love for God, fear of God, and love of neighbor. So is the Quran. So is the traditional religion. You have to be take care of your neighbor. You have to, not just your neighbor, even your community. You have to chastise your child if I can help you to chastise your child if he's going astray.
Not anymore.
You see, I'm saying that was what we were about. We didn't say you should cut, when a child is going astray, you should cut off his head. No. And maybe, yes, they'll probably tell you. And that, I think that was part of the way of restraining or of keeping people on the straight and narrow path. They tell you an eye for an eye. Now, if you don't want me to cut off your ears, you won't cut mine off. So that's a way of keeping people on the straight and narrow path. And that was my culture. That was all we were practicing. And if you talk about human sacrifice, other parts of the world, they used to cut their heads off for fun, for even taking their wives or for a woman looking at another man's, you know. So, you know, but all of those things, if you ever do such a thing, you'll be sent to the gallows. So, you know, all these myths really should...
Maybe by the time we have a book of the Yoruba religion, so to speak, we have the Bible for Christianity, we have the Quran for Islam. So maybe when we have that, you know.
You're absolutely right. And I think it's a challenge to our scholars that we should have our own book of religion. At least the Yoruba.
What are we going to call it? We'll think about that one. Okay. You know, you recently celebrated 50 years,
yes.
You know, of the 50th coronation anniversary.
Installation
Anniversary. Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. That's a big one. How has it been? I mean, you've spent 50 good years. Would you say you have been fulfilled, or it's been fulfilling, it's been taxing, it's been tasking, it's been sacrificial? What would you say, and what next?
All of the above. But it's been fulfilling. It's been fulfilling. It's an ongoing process. It's been fulfilling. We've had trials, we've had successes, but on the whole, I feel fulfilled that I actually decided to choose that path of life. And because he gave me a platform to be able to champion our identity, who we are, through our culture. And despite all the difficulties, to be able to sustain fighting for its acceptability. And of course, not just me, so many other people. And when I see how people from outside Africa wanting to know about the culture of Africa, you have the biggest Ifa conclaves and such religious practices outside Africa being taken on by foreigners who are curious, who are interested in who we are, despite the fact that we've been trivializing our own identity. I feel fulfilled, I feel wonderful that in other parts of the world they are holding dear what we have. And not just the typical Yoruba extensions like Brazil and Cuba. In America, in England, anywhere, you find that you have devout believers in the Yoruba tradition, in the Olodumare, and the practice of worshiping Olodumare through all, I will call them intercessors, because people will understand that better than saying Orisha.
And what I feel more proud of is the fact that we have white people who are speaking Yoruba and wanting to be professors in the Yoruba language.
Let's take it further. Have you seen a white man beat the talking drum? How does that make you feel?
It gives me goosebumps, but it makes me feel so proud that at the end of the day, I have not chosen the wrong path. That I am so glad and I feel privileged that I have been part of this success story of making us acceptable to the world. Perhaps
the next step that the next generation should be looking at is the packaging of the culture. Because one of the things that a number of people would still, which is why the demonizing, so to speak, of the culture is ongoing. What are the things that you would recommend? The way the Jamaicans carry the patois, their culture, such that it's become a part of pop culture. It's really something, awesome. So what would you recommend as, something that needs to be done to package the culture in a way that everybody wants to embrace it?
Well, this program, it came up as part of my year-long celebration of my installation 50 years ago. And that was supposed to be a conversation with Erelu. So you are bailing the cat by conversation with me. For me, my conversation is going to be based on national pride. Now, national pride is absolutely important. I've been pushing this. I, in fact, succeeded in getting a vote for National Pride Cohesion Program with the federal government years back. So the vote is there. I think once we begin, not just limited to my culture or to Lagos, but to Nigeria on a larger scale, we need to reawaken national pride in all of us. To be proud of who we are, to be proud of Nigeria. To me, I always say Nigeria is an orphan. There has no father, has no mother. All she has are people ready to plunder and take from her. When we begin to love Nigeria, we begin to love ourselves, we begin to love our culture, we begin to love everything that we stand for. And then it's easier for the younger people. In fact, it would be even a lot easier if we imbibe that pride, because a lot of young people are quite aware of their culture and their cultural norms. You find that a whole lot of people, they may not even realize the extent of what they are doing, but they are interested in culture now. Culture now, going into cultural practices, anything to do with culture, it's on the front burner right now. It's a tropical issue right now. So they're probably thinking of how I can foster my career by going into culture. That's okay. But doing that, they begin to package our culture in a more refined way to be transported to other places. even without their help, like you said, you have Europeans who speak our languages fluently, they beat the drums, they celebrate our festival. Have you seen them celebrating Olojo that we do here in Ife, in Brazil? Wearing all the traditional things, doing everything, but are they doing fetish things? Are they killing people? They're celebrating the realities of a group of people.
Do we still kill people here?
Now, that is it. They are doing it more than us, but it's okay. There's a reawakening now, and there is a whole lot of interest among young people, maybe in their songs, in their dances, but that's how it begins, and it will evolve.
I like the fact. Okay.
I would say that you brought that office to the consciousness of many Nigerians. Because as Erelu, you were not sitting down in one place beside the Oba. You were up and about. You were seen. You were heard. So a lot more people got to hear about that position of Erelu and the work that she does. She's not just a pretty face getting all dolled up and all that. Was there an Erelu before you? Mm-hmm. And who was she?
I'm Erelu Kuti the fourth. And like I said, it's a very strong position in the sense that she created a dynasty. And since then, it's been her descendant that have been kings of Lagos. So she enjoys a lot of respect. Even the monarch, on a normal day, treats her with courtesy. And you know the monarch is Kabiesi, Kabiyesi, but there's that one figure.
Oh, that's what it means.
Yes.
Kabiyesi.
Yes, but it's that one figure that bequeathed that right to him. So he defers to her. He treats her with courtesy. One of my main duties is to be the closest ally of the king, advising him on all matters, especially social matters, matters concerning women, matters concerning honoring achievers, So it's a very important position. So while we've had Obas in their 20s, we've only had 4 Erelus because not many people will be able to stand a strong woman, interacting them on a daily basis. But before me, we had Erelu Kuti III, Mrs. Otolorin Maja, late Dr. Maja's wife. She's late also, late Dr. Maja's wife. She was a princess of the Royal House of Lagos. And she was very strong. She was also very visible with the Oba, especially, the tussle of the Obaship and the tussle of succession between King Oba Adele, Oba Yukon, the first time, and then, she played very significant role. But we didn't have social media to beam on her activities at that point in time. And she was quite a strong person in palace affairs, because usually in our parlance we say Erelu Niga. Even the palace of the Oba, it's Erelu who owns it, because she's the one with the queen. So she has a whole lot of role to play there. And so she was a big woman, so larger than life. And when you have the Eyo, she's the president of the that title is for all women, but she was very active in it, especially Laba will tell you that the first Eyo and the head of the Eyo, and she was their president, and so all the affairs of that before they come out, she was.
I think we
and
need
she
to
played also political role.
I think we need to make a movie about Erelu.
Absolutely.
We really need to. I'm talking about a movie, not just a document. But we'll come to that.
Yes.
One last one. Let's do this in 1 minute. Being a member of the Kingmakers Council, of course, you certainly are carried along in a number of things that are happening in the city, we want to believe. So, there are questions around whether or not you are being carried along and comfortable with the Lagos Island Model City Plan. Are you comfortable with it? Is there any area of suggestions that you want to bring to the government?
Yes, of course. We weren't carried along. But at some point, when it got to a stage, we were invited. And a lot of people, of course, expressed concern that we should have been carried along right from the onset. But it's okay. We got him, and we were told that nothing is cast in any fast, So at this point in time, yes, our opinions have been sorted, but I think we should be very much entrenched in what is going on, because whatever is going to happen will affect us will affect us, and therefore, if anything is going to be modernized or whatever, we must make sure that we do it in context of the traditional and cultural realities of the Kingdom of Lagos.
So that we do not forget.
So we do not forget.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Her Royal Highness Abiola Dosunmu Erelu Kuti, the 4th of Lagos. Thank you so much for your time.
Pleasure.
And once again,
I'm so
congratulations.
Glad. Thank you.
50 years.
Congratulations.
As we say, no be beans.
Thank you so very much. Thank you very much for having me.
So, you wonder how she's been able to balance life and work? You'll find out after this break.